Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all the praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Salutations. Much love and respect to Akim out there pushing this word out in truth and sincerity. That's your brother Chaim Apash coming at you with another lesson, hopefully to edify the elect of the nation of Israel. And today I want to do a lesson blitz, if you will. I want to do a multitude of lessons today to kind of make up for the short form lessons I've been doing lately. And yeah, because you want to really be edifying when we do these lessons. And the main thing is to edify and build up the sheep. You know, Yahushua said, if you love me, feed my sheep. Okay. And there's different things that, different, thoughts of wisdom that come into our minds during the day. And if the Spirit hits you to do a lesson on it, to teach, they have a saying, a teachable moment, right? Then you should be able to, put that on wax as a teacher of Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, because you may think it's basic, but somebody who's listening, a new viewer, may not look at that as basic. That may not be something that they thought about. And you're opening their mind to this particular topic. Really not you, but Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai is opening their mind through you, through that particular topic. So this topic today is going to be learn the customs of your region and tip accordingly. Don't be a nigga. All right. And our goal as Israelite men in this truth, right, is to not to be a nigga. All right. Not to be the furthest away from these grimy jakes you see in the streets. Right. Even Chris Rock spoke about there's a difference between black people and niggas. OK, and you know what he meant by that. Right. You got a regular Israelite that goes to work and, he wants to, feed help his family. And, he abides by the law, so to speak. It's a regular Jake. OK, and then you got ninjas you see walking around with their pants sagging. They got a blunt in their mouth. They have no manners. They have no etiquette. No etiquette amongst themselves. Matter of fact, let's go into the word etiquette. Let's see what the word etiquette goes into, because the scriptures also speaks about etiquette. All right. The scriptures is just not a book of when to put people to death, or, you know what I'm saying? This is also a book on etiquette. Okay. Let's go into etiquette, which it has to be a French word just based upon the spelling. Etiquette. Well, I'll go into the regular definition first. Let's go into the meaning, the regular definition, then go into the etymology. It says the customary code of polite behavior in society or among members of a particular profession or group. So it's a customary code of polite behavior. So if you're not showing the proper etiquette, then that is known as rude. Okay, that is insulting to other people. And there is a tipping etiquette when it comes to, I want to say, a large portion of the world, if not most of the world. Okay, there's a tipping etiquette. You may say, oh, well, that's not part of the bill. I don't have to tip. Well, then don't dine in. Do not sit down and eat, because that comes with a particular service that they expect a tip for. This is common sense, right? If you're going to McDonald's, places like a McDonald's or something like that, obviously you don't need to tip. But when you're going to a place where they're serving you at the table, when you're sitting down, when they're getting you your water, when you can order things, while you're sitting down and ask for different things, they're giving you your napkins, they're giving you so on and so forth. There's a service that comes with that they expect to be tipped. All right. So this is for you, you new brothers coming into this truth. Don't be like these ninjas you see in the world. I don't feel like tipping. I ain't gonna tip. Right? That's a very how would you say it? Uncultured, if you will, uncultivated individual. A very how would I put this? Not wild. Well, you could say wild. You can say wild. Okay? Because you lack etiquette. Okay? Like Esau, when he was coming out of that low state, he had to learn how to eat with forks, knives, and so on and so forth because he didn't have good etiquette. He was in a state of a beast. Okay? It says acceptable behavior. You see, good manners. The scriptures speak about good manners. It says corrupt. There's a scripture that says corrupt communication. Let's go into that. Corrupt communication ruins good manners, or something along those lines. Corrupt communication. Corrupt communication corrupts good manners. That's it. Corrupts good manners. That's it. So this is evil communication rather. Okay. So this is 1 Corinthians 15 and 33. It says, "Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners." Okay. Matter of fact, let's go and look up that scripture. 1 Corinthians 15 and 33 in the blue letter. Kind of dive into it a little bit more. Let's just type in, what was it? The first corrupt or evil communication. Oh, goodness gracious. Let's do it again. Okay. Let's go to the interlinear. We'll look up the word communications. It says homilia. It says companionship, intercourse, communion. Right? So if you chilling with certain people of the world, you have particular companionship with them, but they're wicked and they're of the world. Guess what? That's going to end up rubbing off on you. Their manner of thinking, their ways. Okay, that's why the scriptures also say, it says, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. Okay, you want to be around the brotherhood. You don't want to be around niggas in the world. I don't care if it's your family, because that communication can corrupt good manners, a good way of being. Now, go into the word good real quick. It says fit for use, useful, virtuous, good, manageable, mild, pleasant. Okay, as opposed to harsh, hard, sharp, bitter. Right, and someone who doesn't have good manners is bitter. It leaves a bitter taste in people's mouths. It says of things more pleasant, of people kind and benevolent. Everywhere I go, I tip. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you to say it. Even if I'm broke, I tip. If I'm broke and I'm going somewhere out that requires a service, I still tip. And I tip about 20%. Okay, 18 to 20%. So even if I'm broke, okay, being broke is not an excuse, because if you're broke, then you shouldn't be out. If you can't afford what you're doing, then you shouldn't be out there doing it. Okay? You might as well not go dine in. If you're not willing to pay that price, then don't go and dine in. That's simple as that. Because if you do takeout, they can't tell you anything. All right, takeout, they're not expecting a tip, but then sometimes I tip with takeout just because I give a little bit, just a little tiny something, you know. Sometimes I just feel like doing it. Okay. It says ethos, which you don't have to. That's not required, by the way. It says ethos goes into a customary abode, dwelling place, haunt, customary state, custom. Right. So this is going into the customs. Okay. Usage, morals, character. Right. Right. And they're going to judge your character based upon, how you keep particular customs. Right. So if you don't have the correct manners, you're going to rub people the wrong way. And even that is, even that we're supposed to keep to a minimum, pursuant to a Romans the 12th chapter. And I'll probably get that in a minute. I just kind of want to go a little bit more into this definition, and then I'm going to play the video for you. Okay, real quick. All right. And guess what? Esau can use this video to further demonize Jake. And I believe Esau is going to use this video and probably, commenting on it on X. And did you see? Well, I'm going to show you something. Okay. You're not supposed to give the enemy ammo against you. Okay. Esau loves this type of stuff. It says decorum, form, good form, courtesy, politeness, civility, right? Propriety, formalities, niceties, punctilios, custom. Okay, you get the point. And I do kind of want to look up the word polite as well. But let's go into the etymology of etiquette. I know it's a French word for sure. See, Old French. Yeah. It says Old French. It says list of ceremonial observances of a court. It says originates from the French word etiquette, which means label or ticket. Okay. Label or ticket. In French, etiquette referred to a small card or label attached to an object, often for identification or instructions. The term evolved to describe the prescribed rules of conduct, right? There's unwritten rules of conduct, all right? And a lot of times it's actually written, particularly within courtly settings and later, more generally, in society. There's certain things that are unwritten, right? Even going back to the time of Adam, some of the laws, or the laws, not some of the laws at that time were not written on stone. Okay? These were just things people understood to do, like not commit adultery, to sacrifice to the Most High, to not to eat with meat with blood in it, so on and so forth. Certain things were just customary. You knew it based upon word of mouth. All right. French origin etiquette itself has a rich history stemming from the verb estiquer, to stick, attach, which is related to Proto-Germanic root stikan, to stick, pierce. Right? Courtly usage in France, the word etiquette. And that's part of being royal too, is having, proper etiquette, because, when they think of poor people, they don't expect them to know proper etiquette. They expect them to be, well, primitive, if you will, in a sense, or very, kind of wild, but when you are, in that upper echelon, you're taught from a child to be more refined. And we're supposed to be like that as a people, regardless of our financial status. We're supposed to be refined as a people. Okay. We're supposed to be godlike because we are the Most High made us special. Matter of fact, let's go here real quick, and then I'm gonna play the video. Don't worry, Salakia. All right, let's get Deuteronomy 7 and 6. And I know I had to get on, brothers in my camp at some point, which is really Yahweh Shai's camp, but you know what I mean. Basically about, tipping, man. And I remember I used to get mad at those brothers and, no, man, you got to calculate correctly, because they wouldn't give the right tip. And I'll be like, I would look at the bill, like, brother, what did you tip, And then the boom, boom, bam. I said, nah, brother, you got to give more, or whatever, or I'll add an extra on it because you have to, that will put a bad taste in the people's mouths. Okay, you go to these places and they'll be talking about you and say, see, they don't tip, they're stingy. Yeah, you're looked at as a stingy person. You're looked at as a niggard. That's what the word niggard means, by the way. Okay, so we're not supposed to be like that. That's not supposed to be our reputation, man. Scriptures speak about abstaining from all appearances of evil, man. This matters, right? We have to be aware of a small or a great matter. Okay, this matters. Okay. Jake will say, "Oh, what does it matter? What does this have to do with the truth?" It has to do with the truth. It has to do with becoming a new creature, man. If you weren't doing it before, this is Deuteronomy 7 and 6. Salakia. It says, "For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy power. Yahweh thy power hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth." So we're supposed to be a special people. Okay, we're supposed to be a royal people, the Lord said he's going to make us a royal priesthood. Did he not say that? So how can a royal people act like brutes, act like they have no home training, man? This is 1 Peter 2 and 9. It says, "But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood." Okay, because in the kingdom, we're going to be kings and priests, man. But we have to practice that now. Okay, an holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should shew forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Okay. So matter of fact, let's go straight to the video now. Okay, let's go straight to the video so you brothers can see what was going on. And there's an original video that I watched that video, and I was actually pissed off. And I was with the Moabite or the Ammonite. Is it I think it's a Moabite. It's either a Moab. I can't really tell. I think that's Moabite writing. I believe that's Chinese, so-called Mandarin writing. But I was on his side, man. He was cursing out, "No, Jake's come to the establishment, you don't tip," and Jake was acting like it's nothing. Maybe I could find the original video. Let's try to find the original video. Salaki, I was watching the brother Kushab Banyamyan. I went and subscribed to his page. GMS Barbadian Disciple. Yeah. Let's go over to Asian man. And they turned it into a black and white thing. This has nothing to do with necessarily, because he didn't say anything racist, so it had nothing to do with them being bad. Asian man, or Asian, I'll say restaurant owner follows black man for not tipping. And Jake in Babylon, right, has a reputation for not tipping, man. Okay. Okay, he said black motherfucker. Who cares? Okay, whatever. He didn't say nothing. I didn't hear him say that, but he didn't really say nothing racist any goddamn way. Okay, but hold on. Let me see something. If I could find like an original. Let's see if this is the
because take a look.
Hey, bro, what do you want, bro? What do you want? I paid for my food. I paid for my food. What are you talking? Why are you following me down the street? street. Nigga, you need to get the back. You need to get back. Why are you following me? Why are you following me? What do you think? Why are you following me? What are you gonna do? Call 911. Call 911. If you need to settle something, you know who to call?
Yeah, they're over here. Let's go. I know them.
I'm okay. Go tell them. You go tell them. Get back. Get back.
Yelling at
Get
me?
back, bro.
Huh?
I'm telling you to get back.
Yelling at
I'm
me?
not, bro. I'm not trying to with you. You piece of.
Yelling at me?
I'm not trying to.
You
Bro.
shut your goddamn
I'm
mouth.
not. Why are you following me down the street?
You piece of shit.
I paid
I'll
for my.
And the reason he's following you down the street is because usually when people go to his restaurant and they get the service, they already know to tip. They already know to tip. Okay, which he was being emotional, but they already know to tip. Okay, but you jakes, you niggas go in there and you give a stain to the all the rest of the jakes that will come in now. Be like, I don't know if these niggas are gonna tip. Okay? Because they have no problem coming in, eating, drinking water, asking for extra this and extra that. And then when it's time to tip, when it's time to pay, they don't leave a tip. And some of them don't even want to pay. So this is why, we distance ourselves from these so-called black people. We're not black, we're Israelites. So we make sure we tell you the difference, man. We have a whole different mentality than so-called black people. This is an embarrassment. Okay? And it's embarrassing for him because he lost control. This Moabite looking guy, he following him around and doing that. He did lose his temperament. You got to know that some people are just not polite. Some people just don't have etiquette. So this is going to happen from time to time, which is the problem with the system. Okay, it's a problem with the system, really. Okay, because Esau allows them, because of lobbying, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. They allow these restaurants to pay these waitresses and waiters pennies on the dollar, so they can put the onus of paying their own employees on the customers, which is madness. But this is how it is. Because Esau's system is corrupt, but this is how it is. Okay?
Bro, I pay for my food, bro.
Piece of shit.
For my food.
How the f*** you didn't think
Bro,
you make money?
I pay for.
Huh?
I
How am
pay
I
for.
supposed to make money? Huh?
See, and he's going for his staff. And which is true if you understand it. Some of these in certain regions, these waiters and waitresses get like $2, $2.50, $3. Give me 1 second. Upstairs. Salakia. Okay, so, oh man. Damn. Oh, the water, y'all. Okay, good. I thought this thing might have cut off. The Lord had mercy on me. So, anyways, yeah. So some of these waiters and waitresses, they get like $2, $3 an hour. That's not a living wage, which is wicked on the government's part. But this is what it is. So knowing that, why would you go into the establishment not knowing that it's customary that you should be paying a tip? You should go in there knowing that you should be paying a tip. Okay? So that's the video. And now you got another video here, and I didn't even read the comments. But I could guarantee you there's some Edomite, because Esau's getting bold now. Oh, he's really getting bold now in the comments and everything. Right? That race war is brewing up. The elites are brewing that up. But right, this is why now it says, what damage control restaurant owner apologizes for following and berating black customer for not tipping. And this is going to further put a stain on you so-called black people. Because now it's like, see, you got to apologize because these niggas don't know how to act. Okay? As Esau has a saying now, offended by everything, ashamed of nothing, which is true. I agree with that statement. As much of a devil and a lowlife that these Edomites are, that statement that they said is correct. Okay? With the 2/3, with Jake that's not of the elect. But us, he can't say that about the elect, the ones that follow Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, because we don't move like this. We don't operate like this. Okay? And if brothers are operating like that, they should stop immediately, man. I gotta tip this heathen. This heathen needs to serve me. Either way,
Things my sweaty
you bugging out, man. You're bugging out.
pits made me buy. Sweat guards, pads, layers, nothing worked. I never felt relief until I found...
Well, confrontation over tipping lands an Evanston restaurant owner in some hot water. And now he's sitting down with our Sarah Maki to say he takes full responsibility, he's sorry, and his door's open to the other person involved.
Hey, bro, what do you want, bro? What do you want? I paid for my food.
Evanston restaurant owner Kenny Cho says he takes a full responsibility for his actions in this video, taken Saturday afternoon, telling us he followed a regular into the street, intending to tell him never to come back after leaving without tipping again.
You gonna tell them? I paid for my food. I handed you $20. You can't charge me more than what the menu say. So what are you talking about?
But the tensions escalated, the men yelling at each other for several minutes as the customer walked away from the business. Have you watched the video?
Yes.
And when you watched it, what did you see there?
Ashamed. I was just ashamed, bring shame to my wife as a husband, as an owner, at the same time, to my mom and dad.
The video ignited a debate online about tipping and led some people to leave messages on the sidewalk in shock, calling the business Table to Sticks anti-black.
Table to Sticks, how can I help you? I'm sorry?
The backlash has...
And then you got these niggas calling in the establishment, harassing the people for a dude that was really in the wrong to begin with. You're not... Don't sit down and dine in if you don't have money to tip or you're not willing to tip. Okay? If you're being stingy, dining in is not for you. Okay? I agree with these people. I agree with the restaurant owner. I agree. See, and he has to apologize now because you ninjas don't know how to act. And Esau's going to use these type of incidences to blow it up to say, see, I told you these ninjas are a problem. And we got to try to cater to these ninjas, because these ninjas don't know how to act. They'll use these incidents with these grimy jakes to try to further demonize you. There's already a big enough demonization campaign on you, right? Why add onto it? So
has forced them to stop taking calls, deactivate their social media, while Yelp has paused any new reviews.
Bro, you about to blow up on social media, bro.
When asked
and that's why he's apologizing. Listen, at the end of the day, Moab is about the money. You understand what I'm saying to you? Moab is about that moolah. So you stop their money, Moab is willing to do whatever. Brother said, that Moab's, he heard from somebody that Moab's God is money. That's Moab's God, man. Okay? They're not a religious people like that. Their thing is money, man.
Didn't tip. The customer told people online, "Oh, I just didn't want to." Cho tells us the customer's brother has
want to. That's some nigga shit. And Edomites do it too. Don't get me wrong. There's Edomites that do it as well, right? So-called white people do that as well. But for the most part, you hear that about Jake. Like, Jake is known for not doing that. He may be a 1-2 straggler Edomite that don't do it. But for the most part, Jake is known for not doing that, especially Jake in America. That's a whole different breed of black person in America, man. That was an experiment, man. You Jakes in Babylon, that you were an experiment. I'll say that, man. Okay? Right? I don't hear that up here, but I've seen it. I've seen Jake not tip correctly or barely tip. I've seen that here too. So Jake does that in other places too. Okay, don't get me wrong, But I'd say it's not prevalent like that, you know? It's not prevalent like that. I say you might see that from little young YNs, with shiesties on going to go eat in the restaurant. They may not tip, but for the most part, Jake is tipping too out here. I believe. I don't know the statistics, but I believe. But I remember there's one time there's this Jake that I know in the world, and he was at a spot. And I was at the same spot. And he gave the woman bread for the thing that he bought. And then he didn't tip, and the woman was looking at him like, yo, where's the tip at? He's like, oh, sorry, I got no tip, whatever, he got it like that, blah, blah. So I was starting to get embarrassed. The fact that I even know the nigga made it worse, and I dapped him up, he dapped me up, and it made it even worse, the fact that now I'm associated with the nigga. You know what I'm saying? So, what I did was I took out some money and I paid the tip. I said, nah, here, take this for the tip. And he's like, oh, yo, thanks, man. Yeah, but why the fuck are you in a fucking establishment if you're not going to pay the tip? Why are you in a pub or wherever if you're not going to pay the tip of the service fee? So this is why we don't want to associate with you Jakes. You Jakes have no manners. You have no good sense. And you leave a stain even in our name because we're associated with you. Ridiculous. Let's get some scriptures. Okay, let's get some scriptures. Let's go to Zephaniah, man. Let's go to Zephaniah, the 2nd chapter and the 1st verse, man. It says, gather yourselves together, gather together, O nation not desired. And there's a reason why you're not desired. Okay? Oh, let's read the beautiful NLT. The spirit is truly working. It says, gather together. Yes, gather together, you shameless nation. And you Jakes are shameless, man. You Jakes are completely, you Jakes are completely shameless, man. Okay? You Jakes are completely shameless. Let me read that again in the NLT. Sometimes the NLT hits very hard, man. It says, gather together, yes, gather together, you shameless nation. So when Esau says, offended by everything, ashamed of nothing, well, you're further proving we are the Israelites. Because that's what the scriptures say about these Jakes. Okay? But that doesn't apply to us because we're moving in a totally different spirit. Okay? All right? A totally different spirit. And first and foremost, you should be ashamed of breaking the laws of the Most High. But if you were keeping the laws of the Most High, you would be moving in a particular way. You wouldn't be moving like a ninja if you were keeping the laws of the Most High. All right? It's more than just, wearing my fringes. I got my fringes. Keeping the Shabbat. Friday, sundown, Saturday, sundown, which is not the Sabbath, by the way. The Sabbath doesn't only fall. The Sabbath is based upon the new moon. So sometimes it does fall on Friday to sundown to Saturday. But it changes every new moon, every month. You're not going based upon Esau's calendar. You're going based upon the moon. That is the calendar of the heavens. That's what the Heavenly Father used to determine times and seasons, man. All right. This is Jeremiah 30 and verse 17. It reads, for I will restore health unto thee and will heal thee of thy wounds. And that's starting with the elect. The rest of you Jakes got to be ethnically cleansed, saith Yahweh, because they called thee. And that's why they hate us, because we're actually calling out these Jakes for this behavior. This is why Esau hates us. We call out these Jakes that they can use to accuse us. We call them out. We tell them to get themselves right, and that the Most High is going to have to get rid of you. And we're the exact opposite. We're the example of the opposite of that. So Esau can't use us to blame. They can't accuse us, and that's a problem. Esau always wants a reason to accuse these Jakes. So don't let Esau make you think that he's mad that these Jakes is running around doing the things that they're doing and putting Jake in a bad light. No, he likes that because that gives him an excuse, right? Especially for the violence they're getting ready to ensue on you Jakes. They're getting ready to show their hatred for you Israelites, okay? We're at that time now. We've been speaking about it for years, starting with our apostles and elders, but now we're at that time now where it's getting ready to pop off, man. For I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith Yahweh, because they called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. Right? Yeah. You're an outcast, man. You're looked down upon around all around the world. Oh, well, there's a video of an Asian woman. You nigga, go get out of the country, you nigga. Blah, 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 blah. You know, and Jake was laughing. And that's a better way to deal with that when they come up to you like that. It's better to not be fazed by it, because they're trying to draw an emotion. If they can't draw emotion out of you, they lose the battle. But yeah, that's the whole point, you know. And you know, and then you had the comments, the Edomites in the top comments talking about, yeah, that's right. And, well, actually, you have some Moabites too. Yeah, we agree with her. So now that hatred for you Jakes is becoming popularized in mainstream, you know. This is Jeremiah 30:17. It says, I will give you back your health and your wounds, says Yahweh, for you are called an outcast, Jerusalem, for whom no one cares. These nations don't care about you. And you further give them reason not to care about you by acting a fool, man. Okay, by acting a damn fool outside, man. By not understanding customs and not moving in a correct way. Okay? You further cause issues, man. Hey, Shalom, Akyal Bashim Al Shai Bashim Kakodash Brakata. Shalom. Okay? Let's go to something I have here. I had ChatGPT on deck. Okay? Tipping customs, right? It says, let's go up here, man. All right? So you can see. All right? It says tipping customs vary widely across the world and are deeply rooted in cultural norms, economic structures, and local service industry practices. Here's a breakdown of tipping etiquette in various regions. And we went into the word etiquette, man. Okay? It says, which goes into a ticket, you know, which represents a way of being, okay, how you're supposed to act, how you're expected to act. Okay? It says United States and Canada. Expected, yes. Tipping is standard and expected. It's expected, man. You understand that? It says amount 15 to 20% of the bill before taxes. You know, and what I do is I just, you know, say the bill is $50. You know, put the 10%. What's 10% of $50? $5, and then I double it, which is $10, man. Right? You could bring it down, you know, $9, $8. As simple as that. You know, if the bill's $80, you know, 10% is $8, and you double that, $16. If you want to bring it down a bit, $14, whatever the case may be, that's all good. It's not that complicated, man. Okay? It says why servers are often paid below minimum wage and rely heavily on tips. That's why the Asian dude in the so-called Asian guy in the video, he was saying, how do you expect my workers to get paid? How do you expect them to survive? So he was really fighting for his workers. Okay, so this puts a stain on you Jakes, man. Okay, and you're supposed to be eating in if you're going to be a niggard. Look up the word niggard. We always go into that. Okay, Niggard. You're not supposed to be eating in if that's the case. If you're so stingy with your money, then be that. If you're frugal, if you want to be super frugal and stingy with then do that. But don't be going into the restaurant thinking you're going to eat and dine in and get this and that service and then not tip and everything's going to be all good. They're going to be talking about you. And I've been there while waitresses and waiters were talking about people who didn't tip. And trust me, it's not kind. It's really, they want to put you to death. That's the kind of sentiment they have. Okay? France, Germany, Italy, Spain, it's expected, yes, 5 to 10%. You know, some places it's 5 to 10%, which is good because 15 to 20% is actually a lot. You know, it says often included. So some places it's actually included. So, you know, you read up about your own particular region. I'm not going to go through all these different things, but all around the world, it's customary to tip, you know. Really, Japan is the only place I've seen really that where it's like tipping is not like, it's kind of could be offensive. And you need to know that too, right? You go to Japan and you're trying to tip, that could be considered offensive. That's not a place where you go to tip. All right, that can be considered offensive. Matter of fact, let me see if it should be here. And I didn't know that, right? Which, that's why you look up the customs before you go to a place. It says Japan, expected? No, it's not expected. Tipping can be seen as rude or confusing. So you don't do that in Japan, okay? Right? And you don't really need to do it in China, but it's good to do it regardless, you know, to give a good name to yourself. You know, even if you give it a little bit because that place is not expected, you give a little something, you know, those people will appreciate it. All right. Okay. But Japan, that's one of them places where, and that's why you look up the customs of that region. See, because if you go there and you go and tip and then, you motherfucker, you tip, you try to tip me, what are you trying to say? You're in the wrong still. You're still in the wrong. Why? Because you didn't look up the customs of that particular region. It says in the United States, servers are legally allowed to be paid below the standard minimum wage because of the tipped minimum wage, which is fucking madness. Minimum wage system. This is based on the assumption that tips will make up the difference between their lower base wage and the federal or state minimum wage. Here's how it works. How it's legal under the Fair Labor Standards Act, FLSA, employers can pay a federal tip minimum wage of $2.13. Who can live off of that? You pretty much can't even live off of that probably in China, man. Or in Asia. It's crazy. Okay? As of now, as long as the employee regularly earns at least $30 per month in tips. And I'm going to show you why that is, because this whole system is corrupt and criminal. Esau wants to talk about criminals. This whole system is a criminal system and a fraud system. It says tips plus base wage, at least minimum wage, currently $7.25 federally. If not, the employer must make up the difference. And I don't know if it's $30 a month in tips. That's going to allow them to pay them $2.13 an hour. If they get $30, I don't know about that. The calculation seems a bit off. But this is why they're allowed to pay them such low wages. It says why this system exists. I'm guessing I'm just guessing that the tips per month has to be more. But you know, I'm not pulling out the calculator. It says why this system exists. Historical precedent. Tipping started as a way to incentivize better service and was normalized over time. And that's really what it should be. It should be a choice. You know, if a person gives an exceptional service, you know, to just show them, hey man, what's up? I like what you're doing. I like what you're doing. You know, I like how you dealt with me. You know, that's what it should be. It should be optional. It shouldn't even be no stain if a person doesn't do it. But this is why there is a stain. It says industry lobbying. The restaurant industry has historically lobbied to keep labor costs down by maintaining a lower tipped wage. And lobbying right there, lobbying to begin with in this is corruption, showing you that this system is fully corrupt. This Canadian American, this has been corrupt from the inception. Lobbying is nothing but bribery. And the scriptures speak about the tabernacles of bribery being destroyed. Right? Because there should be no reason why they're able to pay them low and depending on people's goodwill to tip them. And that's what it is. You're depending on the people. The waiters and the waitresses are now depending on the people's goodwill to tip them. So that they could eat. So that they could pay their rent. That's a stupid system. And it's not in the law that they have to pay that. That's why those two nigglets were able to walk out of there and not pay, because it's really not in the law. It's just like an unspoken rule. Okay? But they're able to create a law based upon this unspoken rule, which is fucking madness. But this is the so-called white man for you. This is this devil, this corrupt demon that goes around the earth corrupting, destroying, robbing, raping, pillaging the planet Earth. You know, and then he wants to look at you like you're the problem. You know? Anyways, it says, and these two Jakes that's not tipping, they don't compare to the fraud and the destruction that you Edomites have done and continue to do worldwide every day. It does not compare. So don't get it twisted. But these Jakes are an issue and they're a stain on the nation. It says the restaurant industry has historically lobbied to keep labor costs down by maintaining a lower tip wage, customer-based pay model. And this is what it is. It says it shifts the burden of paying workers from employers to customers through tipping. And hey, man, I could see Esau wanting to do that in all industries, you know, because he's always trying to increase his profits while, you know, taking from the people. It says, anyways, it doesn't matter about the controversy and debate. It is what it is. This is the custom of different regions in the world. So, you know, follow the customs. And if you know, find out what a customary tip is in your area, because it's different. It varies, and tip accordingly. Okay. Accordingly, if you're going to dine in. So this is Romans 12 and verse 18 real quick. Because if you don't tip, guess what? You're gonna create enemies. Trust me, you're gonna create enemies, and people are not gonna like you. And you're gonna be, and it's not about being liked, but it's you don't create unnecessary enemies, man. This is Romans 12 and 18. It says, if it be possible, as much as life in you, live peaceably with all men. All right, and you should be nervous at eating places if you don't tip, because who knows what the hell they'll do to your food. Okay. This is the brother Requai. It says Tobit 4 and 8. It says, if thou hast abundance, give alms accordingly. If thou have but a little, be not afraid to give according to that little. Uber drivers don't get paid much. Yeah, Uber drivers don't get paid much. Right? They don't get paid much either. Right? You know, which I always tip my Uber drivers as well. But they get paid, I would say, it's not much. It's not much. It's not much, but I think it's more than that $2 and something cents and the $4 and $5. You know, I think they get paid at least minimum wage even without the tips. But I give them a tip as well. You know, so it's customary. Okay. So with that, Lord willing, this was edifying to the elect. I wasn't planning on making this a long video. This was going to be one of the videos I was doing today. Lord willing, I could do multiple. But, I just wanted to go into this. And Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect. And I'll say shalom.